In the wake of a mass shooting in Maine, Governor Gavin Newsom shows just how wretched a human being he really is as he politicizes this latest tragedy. Coming up, we'll tell you what he said, why he's dead wrong, and why he should really focus his attention on the body count here in California. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and of course, we are sorting through the devastating news of yet another mass shooting, this time in Maine. At least 18 are dead, others are wounded, but that has not stopped Governor Gavin Newsom from inserting himself yet again into someone else's tragedy, sticking his nose where it doesn't belong with misinformation and toxic political rhetoric. Here is the story from the Politico organization, news service. Gavin Newsom slams Maine Republicans over gun control after mass shooting. This is what Newsom actually had to say. Republicans in Maine rejected a bill this year that would have required a waiting period for firearm purchases. They seriously could not fathom waiting 72 hours to buy a gun. Maine also does not ban assault weapons, require permits to carry a gun in public, require background checks on all gun sales. Our hearts are heavy tonight. Yeah, it shows you POS. We need immediate action. We cannot sit around and wait for Congress. We need to amend the Constitution to prevent tragedies like this. Okay, snake oil salesman, shamefully divisive and toxic in your approach to a tragedy. Not a single bit of these policies would likely have prevented the tragedy in Maine. Yet this guy pretends as though he's got the silver bullet, that he is the grand poobah of all that is good and that everyone else has it all wrong. Again, presiding over a state that has had a spike in homicides over the past several years and a crime wave that he's certainly not dealing with, and a wave of fatalities from drug overdoses that he refuses to act on. So he's sitting there grandstanding, in essence, trying to pretend like he gives a damn and like he has some sort of solution. Not a single one of these policies are shown to be able to prevent what happened last night. This guy, and I'm not going to use his name because we never let the crazies have any sort of notoriety that they often seek. This guy was nuts. This guy was mentally deranged. And I believe, and I think a lot of Americans believe, and a lot of experts would understand, that we have a mental health crisis in this country. Governor Gavin Newsom doesn't want to focus on the real driver here. He wants to focus on his political agenda, which, unfortunately, a lot of voters in the state of California actually have been bamboozled into thinking that the best way for them to secure themselves is to give up their right of self-defense, the Second Amendment. Now, a couple things that are just factually off besides the poor policies that he's laying out. We've got him saying that Republicans are to blame. Well, when you take a look at the actual situation in Maine, Maine is controlled by all Democrats. Democrat governor, Democrat majority in both the state Senate and the state House. The legislation that I guess he was referring to failed not just because of Republican votes. It failed on a bipartisan line with 7 Democrats voting against the bill and 11 Democrats voting against it in the Senate. So 7 Democrats in the House voting against the bill and 11 Democrats voting against it in the state Senate. Almost as many Democrats voted against this bill in the state Senate as Republicans. But what does this asshat have to offer us? Republicans in Maine rejected a bill. The governor of Maine did not support the bill. She remained silent. Democrat Maine Governor Janet Mills had remained largely silent on the proposal. At a press conference Thursday, Mills condemned the shootings without mentioning gun control. But who has to insert his wickedly bad nose into the situation? Gavin Newsom. Why? because he is grandstanding. He's running for president, and any opportunity he can to get in front of a camera, even if it means inserting himself inappropriately into a national tragedy, he's going to take that opportunity. He's not there to help. He's not there to bring people together. He's not there to solve a problem. He's there to try to score political points, cheap political points. And of course, the media will carry him as some sort of like fighter for safety. Let's review the bidding. California has a 3.5 times higher violent crime rate and homicide rate than Maine. 3.5 times, 350% higher than the state of Maine. Governor, you have no right to lecture people in Maine on how to govern their affairs. You can't even keep your own state safe. And this is a governor who is okay letting criminals out onto the street so they can continue to wreak havoc on communities. He's okay taking away tools from prosecutors and law enforcement to capture and prosecute and punish criminals. He's okay getting rid of bail. He's okay having some sort of a change in sentencing requirement so that we go lighter and we focus on rehabilitation, which, by the way, in California has shown not to work at all. He's okay allowing more drugs onto the streets, fentanyl and all sorts of other drugs that, frankly, not only lead to overdoses, but I would suggest, and this has always been my theory, and I think that the evidence is starting to mount that this is something that we should be addressing. I believe that we should have a toxicology report made public on all of these mass shooters. I want to know what pharma drugs they're on. I want to know what illegal drugs they're on. Clearly, there's a mental health problem, but I also believe that there is a substance abuse issue here as well. The Second Amendment is your right to defend yourself. It is a human right. The First Amendment is your human right of thought, expression, speech, religion, assembly. The Second Amendment is your human right inherently to defend yourself and your family. Gavin Newsom and Democrats want to remove that right. They say you should trust government. Government can't even fill a pothole. Government can't even keep kids from overdosing on fentanyl. You think that they're going to be there to help you out in your hour of need? No, the Second Amendment saves more lives than we will ever know, because you never can show and document and trace exactly how many criminals decide not to attack someone because they are afraid that that person may be armed. In fact, the idea of a permit to carry a gun in public is actually a pretty good idea, because the only way to stop a deranged lunatic with a gun trying to kill people and carry out an evil act is to have a hero with a gun there to protect those same lives. Look, Gavin Newsom, no one asked you to insert yourself into this tragedy. You took that all on your own, and it's no surprise because you are just simply a wretched individual. You're a wretched individual who has not done his own job in the state of California, but has decided to go and lecture everyone else on the planet on how they need to do their job better. God help us if you ever find your way anywhere near the Oval Office. At Reform California, we are speaking out against this terrible governor and the policies that he promotes, which not only are hurting people in California, but will hurt people nationwide. We urge you to join our fight. Go to exposegavinnewsom.com. That's exposegavinnewsom.com, or check out reformcalifornia.org. Share the stories on Gavin Newsom's failures. Share the stories in particular on the spike in crime, violent crime, that we have here in the state of California, the spike in drug overdoses that we have in California under Gavin Newsom's watch. Also, chip in a contribution to support our work so that we can fight to try to restore some sanity to the state of California. And finally, help us break through the censorship of big tech and the liberal media by liking this video, comment in the section below because it helps us goose the algorithm. Subscribe to this channel so we can continue to bring updates to you on California news and politics, and share the video with your friends far and wide. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California.
Thanks for watching. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.